Hi, good evening. Welcome to our first virtual photography awards ceremony. My name is Rochelle Green. I am the program coordinator and instructor for the photography program at Iowa Central Community College. We're thrilled that you are joining us this evening, and we hope that you've had a chance to look through the images and make some of your favorite selections. I'd like to introduce Jackie Hint as well. She is our adjunct instructor here at Iowa Central. And I'd like to thank you all again for joining us and a few other really important people. Thank you to Rusty, Kia, Clint, and Lauren with the TV, radio, and broadcasting program. They've been helping me, actually not been helping me, they've done all of this since the last 5 hours or so, so I really appreciate that. Dr. Dan Kenny, Dr. Stacy Metzer, Jennifer Condon, Paul DeCourcy, Josh Howell, Eric Oberg, and Lindsay Rosso, Jenny Shivers, Craig Jules, Jennifer Dutcher, Kara Wayand, and Shelley Bodorf. And I would like to thank our Photography Advisory Board as well. Thank you to all the staff and faculty at Iowa Central, and to all of you who support us as students, the students, and the arts at Iowa Central. And then to all of our remarkable students who have worked in ways this semester that they didn't sign up for or ever expect. We are so proud of you and all of your accomplishments. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Stacy Metzer. We'll just wait a minute or a few seconds.
Stacy, you're on.
I just want to take a minute to give a special thank you to these amazing students that we have here at Iowa Central. While our college and the rest of the world is faced with this global pandemic, we really are no different than any other college student right now. The thing that I want to point out the most is that we are different. If you take a minute to look at these photographs taken by these students, you'll realize that we have some amazing students, and they've really stepped up to the challenge and taken this virtual learning to the max. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about the Vice President's picture for the night and give the Vice President's Award to Stacy Fox. Stacy, when I looked at your picture, right away, I'd be lying if I didn't say, number one, I love your name. Number two, the name of the photograph, which was Creating Your Own Path. And I found this just to be really ironic in the situation that we're in right now, and that we really accept you guys out into the virtual learning environment and ask you to create your own path through the rest of education. And so for that, I want to say congratulations. I thought your picture was wonderful.
Outdoor scenes are really my favorite thing, and black and white is also one of my favorites. So congratulations. I think you did a great job.
And at this time, I would like to introduce Jennifer Condon.
Totally unexpectedly, and you kept learning. You still impress us with your work, and it doesn't matter if we're looking in the gallery or if we're looking online. Way to go. Tonight I chose one of Amber Madey's images. I'm just a farm girl. Almost 40 years ago, my first pig's name was Spotty. The reality of farm life is that Spotty grows up and Spotty goes in the freezer. It's that connection to life and animals that drew me to your image. The fact that today is also the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and we are doing this show virtually because of a virus, reinforces the need for photographers to capture the human impact, both good and bad. Thank you again for sharing your view of the world with us.
Dr. Dan Penny cannot join us today, but I do want to share some of his thoughts on the image that he chose. He chose this image created by Carly. I chose Carly's "I Miss You" because it caught my eye, mostly because of the things that are in the image. Military uniform, dog tags she held while hugging the American flag. This photo showed me the love she had for a soldier that had served their country, but at the same time may have died for their country. I think how she arranged the items and then hugging the flag showed a wonderful placement, and the viewer could easily tell what she wanted to say in that composition. Also, I could really relate because of my service in the military. Rochelle, be sure to tell Carly I think she did a wonderful job, and it made me proud to serve my country. Now we're going to move on to the Art Faculty Awards, and we will start with Kara Wayand.
As everybody else has already said, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you for the students to continue doing the work that you needed to do to finish out your education. Thank you to the supporting family members and friends who are also watching tonight. No artist creates things in a vacuum, and it's so awesome to have your support even at this time. So the piece that I chose tonight, it did not have a title on it, but it is by Danya Padilla. And the picture I chose is kind of a sort of a contrast to the image that Dr. Mincer chose for her piece. It's also a road, but in this one it's much darker. The road twists away, and it's very difficult to see, you know, what's going on. And I picked this particular image for a few reasons. In terms of the technical aspects, I thought that this was a really honest photograph of what the inside of a forest looks like. You know, I know when I've tried to photograph forests, I get frustrated by just how very truly dark they are. And it's easy to forget that there is a lot of beauty in those light spots and those little areas of texture and little grays and then bright areas. So from that standpoint, even though it's hard to make out a little bit, I appreciated the honesty of this image. And I appreciated that it wasn't the usual composition of a road. You know, it's twisting, it's hard to see, and I like that sort of new take on this idea. From the other standpoint, in terms of the subject matter or the meaning that the piece had to me, I feel like probably a lot of us are applying the current situation with the pandemic to a lot of the artwork that we're either making or seeing. I know in a drawing critique this morning, I kept thinking that every drawing was actually about the pandemic that the students had turned in. It's really on our minds. And so when I look at this image, it is a lonely image. There, you know, you're obviously alone. There is a twisting road ahead of you. You can't see where it's going. Everything is unclear. It's really uncertain. But no matter how uncertain our path is ahead of us, no matter what lies ahead, what lies beyond that next turn, I think that the little amounts of light that you see sort of sprinkled on the road are a great reminder that even when things are hard, there are little bits of hope to sort of guide us through. There are things to hang on to look forward to, and if you can just keep getting through to that next bright spot, eventually you'll have traversed a really tricky part of your journey. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Congratulations to Danya and to all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kara. Next, we have Jennifer Dutcher.
Jennifer, you're on.
Good evening. I'm excited to be here with you guys. This show was remarkable. I looked at it a number of times, and I'm so proud of all of you guys. You really have tremendous work. One of the things I noticed right off the bat was how diverse all of this collection is. And that just tells you that you really have some remarkable instructors. They have provided you with just an immense amount of learning opportunities. So really, kudos to all of you. The piece that I chose was by Jack. This piece was striking. It really stood out to me. I kept coming back to it as I would visit that gallery over and over again. And I appreciate a number of things about the composition. Some of them that I thought I'd mention tonight are, first of all, the framing of it. I thought it was framed very well. What he chose to put in the frame to crop into the image was just the right amount. I also appreciate the contrast that I see. Like I said, I would describe it as striking. This work had a really interesting point of view. I kept kind of tilting my head when I looked at it because I wasn't quite sure what direction it should go. You know, the orientation of it really was moving to me. I kept wanting to get closer and closer to the image to try to figure it out. And ultimately, I think that's why I chose that piece. It's really what all photographs should do. All photographs should invite the viewer in closer. And it should inspire us to want to investigate or to think, like all of us have talked about this evening. So congratulations, this composition is remarkable. Well done, Jack. Thank you.
The next selection is by Shelley Bodorf, who is the Executive Director of Fort Dodge Fine Arts and the College and Community Fine Arts Director. She couldn't be here with us this evening. She picked Olivia Ehrenberger's photograph, so congratulations, Olivia. The next award is People's Choice Award. I just want to briefly explain to you how we did this. Let's see, for about 36 hours, we had the collection of the images out on social media platforms, Facebook, and about 5 different photographer social media sites. And so what we did is counted all of those votes and the various platforms, and the very most amazing thing, well, that I think anyway, is that we had over 3,500 votes, which is awesome. And then on Facebook, I'm able to look to see the names of the people who voted. And what is also remarkable is a lot of those names I didn't recognize. And so we were able to reach out to a very broad audience and gained lots of new fans. So congratulations, Connor Bach. You won People's Choice Award. Let's see, in the fall, Jackie and I created a Role Model of the Year award, and so we're just going to keep it. This is our Role Model of the Year second annual, or actually second biannual Role Model of the Year award. And I'm just going to read this to you. The Role Model of the Year award is awarded to an individual that has participated in many civic events and has developed meaningful relationships within our community. This person has shown great academic aptitude and ambition above and beyond their peers. In classes, this individual always takes the initiative to make sure their work is innovative and done exceptionally well. This person's caring nature and personality allow them to work well with others in all settings, as they always respect others' opinion, even when they differ from their own. This role model always supports their peers. Their actions have inspired others, including me, to dream more, learn more, and do more. I wish I had a drum roll, but I don't. It's Olivia Ehrenberger. So Olivia, thank you. Thank you for being amazing, and thank you for being such a good friend and an inspiration to all of us. This is going to be my favorite part. Okay. So at this point, I want to introduce our juror. John is a world-renowned 30 plus, right? I think it's 30 plus, veteran in the field of professional and fine art photography. But before I get into all of his accolades, I wanted to just give you a little bit of background. So it's the late 1990s. I was fresh out of art school. I walked into a Las Vegas portrait studio, and my portfolio was full of everything but portraits. That day, I met John Michael Cooper. I'm not sure what he saw in me or my work that day, but he hired me with 0 experience and a portfolio with no evidence that I could be successful in the job I was hired to do. Little did I know that day he would become one of the most influential people in my life. John is an innovator. He's always been many steps ahead of the universe when it comes to innovative ideas. He's an educator. He thrives on working with others to help develop their craft. He is full of passion and might honestly be the most genuine person I've ever met in my life. He is the one who pushed me and gave me the confidence at 22 years old. Those were huge steps for me in building who I am today. He's done this for a multitude of people, though. It's just who he is. His work is groundbreaking. He has won numerous international awards. And as remarkable as his work is, he's so much more than that. John Michael Cooper has made extraordinary contributions to so many and has demonstrated grace and passion in everything he does. I cannot be more excited to announce my friend and mentor, John Michael Cooper. I wanted to show you a few photos, though, because this is John and our crew back in the day. Hopefully you can see which one's John and which one's me. That was a few years ago. And then here's a couple photos of me working and John working. And, you know, I ran across this photo of John today, and I was like, oh my gosh, he loved that orange shirt. He wore that orange shirt so often. And then if you look closely, this is the studio that John and I worked in. And if you look closely on the wall, you can see some of John's early work. He's come a long way. So now I just want to show you some of these images that John sent to me today. Again, I'm thrilled that he has agreed to do this. I'm also thrilled that he has spent some time actually with my students during this pandemic. We've had Meet the Artist series, and so John has spent some time with them also during that as well. So thank you, John. I will go ahead and let John take over.
Hi, how you doing? Well, first, thank you for letting me virtually jump through the internet and do some judging halfway across the country. Rochelle, I might need some guidance on how to do my part. So I go.
Oh, in order? Yeah. So the first image of John is going to be honorable mention.
You do a kind of description and kind of talk about each image as I go.
Yep.
Why don't you just cue me each for each image?
Oh,
and
great.
I can't read the names on my images, so.
Perfect. So this is honorable mention, Bryce Erickson, and it is the commercial shot of the pens and the cell phone and the watch.
So and I'll talk about this when I'm talking about the others as well. In the commercial division, the commercial photography is all about kind of either selling a product or an idea or something, or conveying an idea to get a point to influence, or to show off something. So I actually like this. It's a great, as far as a commercial image and a product shot, it kind of like shows in one image the whole, kind of like your whole portfolio of items in your catalog, and kind of gives someone a sense of what you have to offer, all in just one image. It looks like one of those images that it's really good to kind of start off, so people can see what you have in one glance, and then know where to stay or go. So I think it kind of conveys the point pretty quickly. It is, I think, just to me, it's kind of like not really a catalog shot, but kind of similar. So I thought I picked it for honorable mention, just because it had just kind of a lay of the land kind of feel. So.
Okay, great, thank you. Third place commercial is Abby Stewart, and this is an image of a woman in a phone booth.
So commercial photography kind of like goes across a whole bunch of things, and for this image here, and this is really, to me, kind of a lifestyle image. I think it's, some people might even consider it a portrait, but since I actually see her action and something's happening, it's very much a lifestyle image to me, and because we can see the subject actually in the process of something. We don't know why she's turning and looking out the phone booth, but I do like, as far as breaking rules and everything, I do like the leading line of the telephone booth kind of cuts across and brings your attention right to her face, and then the diagonal shade goes the opposite direction. So it's an exceptional use of leading lines. Usually you don't want to put it for a portrait. You don't want to put a shadow across the face, but this instance it works exceptionally well. And I really like images that can use elements, composition, and leading lines, and then also break those same rules at the same time and still be successful. I can, there's a story in this image, and it's one of those images that you can keep going back to and kind of trying to figure out what it is. So to me, it's a great lifestyle image.
Great. Second place commercial is Bryce Erickson again. And John, this is an image of a person with some boots by a campfire.
So again, going back to commercial. So when I kind of judge and juror these images, I try to figure out if it's a commercial fine art image, and to me this is very commercial. If you're gonna, I'm gonna assume that they're selling the boots, and when you sell boots, you also kind of, or any product, you kind of try to want to sell the lifestyle as well. So the subject is within context and part of the story, and you can kind of visualize their use. So it's actually a really good commercial image, and it can be really well as a stock image, because it has the product, and it has the environment it's supposed to be in, and it allows you to kind of pre-visualize yourself in the environment and say, okay, rugged boots, I like that. So I do like the look of it. I'm an outdoorsy kind of guy. Yeah, and so I can actually picture myself I'm wishing I was by a fireplace right now. So, but I think that's why it's a successful image here, is just because it's a product in the environment it is intended for, and it also conveys that feeling to the viewer.
Hey, great. And then first place commercial photography is Abby Stewart again. And this is a portrait of a man on a horse.
This is, as far as commercial ones, this is kind of my favorite. I'm a portrait artist by nature, so I love people photography. That's my primary love, how I got into photography. And I think this is pretty exceptionally well done. There's a lot of elements in there that I know the horse is truncated, but there's enough there to tell you the sense of what's happening. And this is like, the composition is really perfect, because if you do any commercial work, you have to leave a lot of copy space instead of just which is the big difference between having a portrait of someone and having something that can actually go into a magazine or go and use as an ad. And there's plenty of space for that. And although the composition is kind of a left-hand read, it works out for the copy. So I'm hoping that the artist kind of had all that in mind for their intent, because that's what I see. As far as commercial work, this is, I think, probably the most usable image that I see, and that's why I pushed it into the first place.
Great. Okay, thank you. Now we're going to move on to the fine art category. In third place fine art is Jenna Newman. And John, this is the portrait that has, it's black and white, and it has the bird coming into the face.
Okay, so I really, really love fine artwork. I do a lot of it for myself, but most of my fine artwork is personal. I really like this one only because it's a kind of a play on words, and also kind of this little kind of collage, and it makes you think, especially, I think the thing what makes this work for me, the silhouette, and then the different size eye that's bigger than the silhouette itself. So your mind kind of okay, there's obviously things that are kind of incorrect with it, which forces you to kind of look at it a little bit longer. I probably would even move this up a little bit more. I saw just a few technical flaws in it. but I thought it was a great play on words. It shows a lot of imagination and a little bit of pre-thought. The composition is well thought out, I think, and the placement is to bring these three elements, the four elements together is I think it's pretty exceptional.
Okay, we'll move on to second place fine art is Denise Millian, and this is an image of the grotto, and there's a cross on the top of that, John.
You know, I like the overall feel of this. It's you know, I think the styling and the treatment has a lot to do with making this image kind of successful for me. Because the blacks are kind of flattened out and muted, it just makes the scene kind of a little more lonely, and you kind of get a feel and sense of presence of the place instead of just a bright sunny photo. So I thought in that regard for the scene it was kind of well done. I love landscapes. I love architecture, and I see smelts in here that, you know, to kind of bring all those things together in one piece. Probably my favorite is, as I said, is the styling applied to this landscape.
Okay, in first place fine art is Jack Bauermeister, and this is the drone shot of a landscape.
You know what? I went back and forth with this quite a bit, and I kept coming back to it, and the thing that I liked most is it's the perspective that we don't normally see. So when I first looked at it, I saw something else, and it took me several seconds to just actually figure out what it was. So off the bat, it was challenging me what it was and what it was about. Was that a road? Was it a stream? Was it a stick? Until you get a little closer. So I think for a fine art photographer or any photographer, still to show something in a way that we haven't seen it or we're not used to seeing it, I think that's probably one of the things we should always strive for. I mean, it's so easy to take the most common angles that seem to be always successful for everyone else. And for me, this is especially, I've seen a lot of drone shots, a lot of beautiful stuff, but I actually like how stark this is, because it's not just that you're looking down on these mountains, on these rocks. These rocks are coming up to you, and to me, it looks like these rocks are coming at you at velocity. So I think it's a beautiful image, and if you look at it really closely, the darker the negative space actually kind of like shows the shape of a tree without leaves. So you know, that's kind of into my thinking of, because I could see more than one shape within the image, and that's what made me look at it and experience it a little longer than I did with the others.
Great. And now we're going to move on to Best of Show. This is Trinity Lacoste, and her image is of herself. It's a self-portrait, and she is in a field.
All right. So you know what? As far as photography, whether it's commercial or fine art, I think it's one of the hardest things to do is actually kind of like tell a concise narrative through one photo, but that's what we should all strive for. And although I didn't allow the title pandemic to play into it, I know that adds secondary context to the image. It makes it look a little longer. It's very timely. I mean, although this was a shot before that, to me, this is a woman against the world. Whatever. So that's how I see this. You know, I think the lighting is beautiful on it. I know the sky is beautiful. It's right time, right place, and then the photographer has to line up everything to capture that. You know, especially now that I know it's a self-portrait, which makes the degree of difficulty even that much harder. Especially since I'm sure that light's kind of fleeting. I just like the narrative of this. I like the hewn down field, the bleakness of it, the negative space. She's actually closer to the that right hand, so she's actually getting ready. There's more space behind her, which normally you would put the space in front of someone. That's kind of a rule that's different, but it gives you this big unknown that's ahead of her. So, you know, I think this became my favorite because this is, to me, this is you know a person against the world, you know, and that feels like it sometimes, you know, that's the narrative of what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Awesome. John, thank you so much. I appreciate this. I mean, do you have any final words for us?
You know, I really enjoyed looking at all the images, and it wasn't easy to pick out and decipher and figure out which ones that I wanted in which place. You know what? Ironically, there was like several images that I didn't place that I would have placed had just one or two technical issues been adjusted and they would have kind of moved up. I'm part of a large group of judges that judge at WCI, and we go over and we get really good at critiquing and judging based on technical merit, and so usually I kind of like have to like kind of slow that down and then try to like make the aesthetic merit kind of like raise to the surface, because that's what as a photographer I'm about. But I think all the students did an amazing effort. I think you have quite a bit of emerging talent here. So all you teachers and faculty should be really proud that you have a really, really strong program. So like I said, a lot of these just like they're ready to go out in the world and do some stuff. So you should be really proud.
Thank you, John. Okay, so the next thing I would like to do is actually introduce some of our photography program graduates. And I would like to invite Jackie, as I'm going through the slides of our graduates for this year, or they have spent 4 semesters with us. I'm going to have Jackie go ahead and read something that she has prepared for them. And it's very heartfelt, and I have these exact same feelings, and she's much better at this than I am. Plus, I'm terrified I might cry. Okay, Jackie, go ahead.
Congratulations to everyone. These shows seriously never cease to amaze me. They just continuously get better every single year. We know this semester ended far from the way everyone had envisioned in our minds, but as true artists do, we changed our vision to work for us instead of against us. Sorry, I didn't memorize this either, so if you see me reading, that's why. We know regardless of the situation that we are facing today, success in many variations is waiting for you outside of these doors. Each and every one of you will find your way, persevere against all odds, and excel even when everything begins to look a little differently. We know this because you are living proof of this right now. You are fighting for yourself and the life that you want to live. When we take a moment to look at where you began your journey to where you are now, every single one of you has grown exponentially, artistically, and personally. You have busted out of your comfort zone, lifted the expectations we required of you, and kept pushing through failure to turn it into a lesson. Each of you has left your footprint at Iowa Central, and we are honored to have been a part of your journey. COVID-19 has taken a lot from each of us, some more than others, but there is so much that this unprecedented time leaves untouched. Memories, friendships, knowledge, and so many lessons intertwined in between all of that. Live fearless, dream big, and never stop learning. We are so proud of you and can't wait to see where your journey takes you. I'm going to close with one of my favorite quotes. Be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
I'm going to leave you with a quote also. A good photograph is one that communicates a fact, touches the heart, and leaves the viewer a changed person for having seen it. And I hope that some of these photographs that you've seen have been inspirational to you, or have at least left you thinking of things a little bit differently. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and stay safe and be kind.